Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever for a 2v2 team matchmaker game played on the map Nomadaya. Without further ado, let's get into player introductions, starting with Team 1 on the north and Team 2 in the south. So, we can begin with a Maroon Seraphim worst faction going by the name of Broken Princess, which of course you'd have to be. All good princesses are Aeon. And of course this is a travesty, but we will let it slide as we move on to the other Seraphim player, who is also red but just a little bit brighter. And of course their name is Valtuda, and by brighter I meant the color, not the intellect. So no insults being thrown here just yet, but that might come as we move on to the blue team in the south, starting with the dark blue Cybran going first land, and his name is Boy3417. Then we can move up to the brightest blue, and his name really does try and indicate that, as he is, of course, General Knowledge. And with all of the players introduced, we can take a little bit of a look at the map. I really like the way this map is structured, and I don't know why I did that all wrong. And of course, we can talk about it. So we have this sort of elevation change dynamic on this map, where the lowest elevation is where we're going to see most of the fighting. The center of the map is mainly just a big choke point area, but we have these large open areas with some slight hills going on each corner of the map that is next to where the players spawn. So we should be able to see a lot of good fighting going on there, huge land battles, and air is going to be relatively important because I think that it may be a bit difficult to push in to the main bases of the opposing side, but we'll have to see exactly how that goes and see how these players try to pilot their ACUs and their factions on this Seraphim versus Cybran matchup on the team matchmaker ladder. So we're going to go ahead and check out the early starts. We have the standard, a lot of expanding. Every player gets sort of two main bases. They get a normal 4-core mechs, and then the other core mechs will be, of course, for the players if this game was a 4v4. Sorry, weirded that a little word. Man, I am really struggling with English today, but you'll forgive me because you all are probably coming to expect that by now. But it's normally a 4v4 map, and with that, we're going to have these players sitting on very strong economies very early, and it's going to be very nice to see exactly how they go about punching each other in the face, because that's what you do in FAF. It's all about the punching. And also, with both sides being homogenous in their faction selection, if somebody does die, they're going to get a base that will be very easy to command and integrate, because there's not two different factions to juggle there. Up here to the north, we're having our first little bit of action as General Knowledge is going to come across a Selene. It's not going to be his commander, though, that's going to fight it. It's instead going to be a Mantis, but the Mantis wins that 100 out of 100 times, and the Selene does indeed go down. As over here to the south, another Selene out, but it's trying to kill off an engineer. It will very, very slowly claim the kill on that civilian unit out from General Knowledge. And, of course, we have ourselves a relatively tame early game. Selene gonna go down to the Mantis, as is to be expected. But the early harassment out from Broken Princess, she's trying to just make sure she gets some early knowledge and maybe pick up an engineer or two and just enjoy the early game, have a very kind of chill but aggressive opener. As we can go ahead and check out this early bomber coming out from Broken Princess. And that's going to be very, very juicy. Let's see how many kills it can manage to rack up. Going to go first for a engineer that is reclaiming for General Knowledge, and does manage to pick it up as we move forward. One kill already on that bomber for Broken Princess, and she's heading to the back lines to try and pick up more. There is, of course, a few interceptors in the air already for General Knowledge, Let's see if he can manage that. Gonna get another bomb off. 2 more engineers going down. Have killed that one mechs back there, and we'll get a chance to do more. Gonna turn around once again, maybe going for another engineer or going for something further to the north, but will be picked up by the interceptors. Not too bad of a run for an early bomber. Getting 3 engineer kills is never a bad thing. And that, of course, is going to kind of conclude our early game harassment, as the music has just gotten really quiet, but it should pick up again. It was very tripping me out there for a second. And, of course, we just have to wait and see. Nobody really has a large enough land force at the moment to cause any real damage, but we're getting there as Boy3417 sitting here in the middle, really streaming in a lot of units here with those 4 factories, and is going to be able to maybe assert some form of dominance over here. There's also these 75 mass reclaim rocks in the middle that I'm sure either team will be very happy to try and scoop into their coffers. The commander of Valtuda walking forward. The commander of Broken Princess also making its way to the middle of the map, whereas the other players on the southern team being a little bit more conservative with the commanders, not sending them quite so far out as of the moment, but I'm sure they will meet up with each other relatively soon. A few thumbs showing up, going to be able to pick off a mass extractor, but they will be dispatched relatively soon with the forward production coming out from General Knowledge. He's assisting a land factory. Interesting play out here in the early game. Has a Jester online. These thumbs still going a little bit unnoticed. Don't think that General Knowledge yet has a radar on the front lines. Does have one built back here, but not really giving him the intel he maybe desires. And of course, we sit back, relax, and wait for some action. Jester gonna come out, gonna try and get some damage done. We can follow it around for a little bit, but not gonna find anything up here in the northwestern corner. Gonna start having to make its way further and further inward towards the base to find anything of value. Does pick up a kill on to a land unit there, and Broken Princess now fighting off a few units coming out from General Knowledge. He's trying to do an assault, but this is just going to be very ill-fated. That commander going to provide a ton of value to Broken Princess as it just it blaps away at all of these units out from General Knowledge, and oh no, it's a disaster. General Knowledge losing a large chunk of his active fighting force there, and Broken Princess looking a lot more healthy for it. As down to the southeast, we have another attack coming out. Blue team trying to attack on both sides of the map at the same time. Unfortunately, without their commanders present, it just means that neither of these attacks are really going to achieve much other than dropping a little bit of mass right on the front lines for these players to throw into their economies. And of course, a little bit of fighting breaking out here in the middle. Nothing significant. We still have yet to see 2 large armies or 2 comms duke it out with each other just yet. But it seems over here towards the west, Broken Princess and General Knowledge are going to want to go toe-to-toe as Broken Princess moves forward and starts blapping away with her commander towards these Mantis. Wants to try and take out as many of them as possible and really just use the HP pool that she has there to eat as much damage as possible. And General Knowledge gonna be making his way forward as well to try and do much the same. I think Broken Princess is getting a little bit more value out of the commander, but she just has less units in the vicinity, and Broken Princess may just be going down as all of the Mantis start to focus down. The commander does have overcharge and does get one out there, gets a rank of veterancy really quickly, and that's going to mean that the tides might turn a little bit more. The units for General Knowledge thinning out quite heavily. And Broken Princess forced to fall back, but does have this forward reclaim going on and is going to start rising in the reclaim numbers up to 2.3 thousand, whereas General Knowledge only at 378. Overall economies, Broken Princess ahead of General Knowledge there too. So as long as she doesn't get too hasty with this comm and its aggression, once these factories start really producing en masse, it will be a problem for General Knowledge, and he needs to start ecoing a little bit better and trying to deny some of this reclaim that Broken Princess is focusing on oh so heavily. Meanwhile, in the center of the map, we have a large attack now coming out from Boy. Looks as though he's going to try and push through the middle, and there's just nothing here. Could possibly make his way into Valtuda's base. Of course, it will give Valtuda a decent amount of time to respond, but right now, Boy sitting on a massive army, and he's a little bit unimpeded, may even have a bit of a pincer movement coming out from his two separated armies here. Speed and range finishing up for Boy at the moment. Broken Princess still sitting on half HP as she shoos away some of these engineers out from general knowledge. And that attack move from the factory with the engineers really paying off in dividends. 92 mass reclaimed on that engineer, 195. A new graphic that I didn't point out has been recently added, where it will show you exactly how much reclaim each engineer has managed to scoop up. Let's go back here and check. 486 and 2,400 power reclaimed by this one engineer alone. 126 here. A lot of these engineers getting a ton of value, and it's something we got to keep track of. Just see these engineers that have been around for a long time, see how much they're managing to scoop up for these players. And with Broken Princess being in the lead at the moment, I have to imagine she's scooped up the most mass and gotten a lot of valuable engineers out of it. Down here to the south, Boy with that gun speed and range upgrade, along with the almost superior army pushing forward. Valtuda also has speed and range finished up. Broken Princess just finishing up her speed and range. But unfortunately, I think Boy is making a bit of a mistake, sending so much of his army to just sit here in the middle. Could have been a very decisive fight down here on the south if he had brought all of those units that were up to the south, or to the northwest, over towards this position as well. Nano repair now on the way for Broken Princess. Really wants to focus on having that powerful commander in the fray. Speed and range starting up now for general knowledge as the attack out from Boy 3417 just continues. And he wants to push past this. He wants to get into these 4 production facilities and just take them down. He doesn't like having so many factories on the front line for Valtuda, but Valtuda is sitting here with the commander racking up kill after kill. 22 kills, about to get her first rank of, or his first rank of veterancy. I think the only her here would probably be Broken Princess, but of course, Valtuda continuing to try and hold this position. Unfortunately though, the units don't lie, and more shit counters less shit, so Valtuda gonna at the very least be pushed off this position, and that's gonna be a huge blow for Team 1. It's gonna be very unfortunate to lose those 4 factories. Does have a decent number of factories in the background, and may even lose their life to this attack coming out from Boy, who has just played a very stellar game, deciding to sit back with the commander and use it to focus on killing off these factories and let the units shoo away the commander of Valtuda, but needs to be a bit careful here. Can't risk dying to something as silly as just the reinforcements showing up. In the middle, there's a lot of posturing going on between Broken Princess and, of course, Boy, and a lot of investment into PD now for Valtuda, as an attack starting off over here on the northwestern side between Broken Princess and General Knowledge. And Broken Princess going very low on HP. All of the Mantis focusing her down into the red and falling swiftly. Broken Princess gonna capitulate here at the 13-minute and 30-second mark. And that is a very unfortunate turn of events for Team 1. But critically, Valtuda now sitting on a very strong economy, stronger than all of Team 2 combined, and he has the production he needs to really push in here and cause a lot of damage. General Knowledge starting to fall relatively low on HP as a lot more units continue to pour in. Have these factories restarted? They have. Valtuda doing a very good job of integrating the base of Broken Princess right into his own plans. And right now, it's definitely a question of time. The quicker that General Knowledge can maybe clean up these units with that gun comm and get pushing forward, the better. As right now, Valtuda can just continue to eco up really well and maybe get into a very quick rush to T3 land, if that's what they please. As we check in on a few of the stats, 6.3 thousand reclaim for Boy, Valtuda sitting on 2.6 thousand, and 2,000 now for General Knowledge, 4.1 thousand, but Broken Princess is of course dead. Overall economies, 171 mass a second for Valtuda, and the combined mass of Team 2 is now over or near that, as 87 and 78 for those players respectively. And T2 now showing up on the field for General Knowledge, has a few of these Rhino heavy tanks out onto the field to try and combat the overwhelming numbers pouring out of the base of Valtuda. And Boy is continuing to posture, but doesn't seem like he's confident in his unit count to push forward yet again just yet. The attack coming out over here for General Knowledge, going to be able to pick up these two factories that were on the front line producing engineers and tanks, giving a little bit of a reclaim advantage over towards Valtuda. Needs to make sure you need to make sure you stay on top of reclaim in games like these. It will decide it for you. When you have all these small scrimmages, it's the players who consistently get those reclaim fields into their coffers the fastest that win it. And of course, down here to the south, we just have a huge attempted attack coming out from Valtuda, but unfortunately for Valtuda, just not going to be enough. There's just too much in the area to stop this attack from being successful, so this is going to be closer to a mass dump than a successful damaging attack as Boy comes in for the pincer on those forces. But on the northern side, just a wave of red units showing up for Valtuda to try and push towards this T2 hardened core of units for General Knowledge. And that could be dangerous, but General Knowledge doing a good job, falling back, giving some territory, but knowing that his units are strong right now and not ceding too much territory to all of these units coming out from Valtuda. Down to the south, a bit of a forward movement for Boy. Not gonna result in anything, just gonna be a bunch of dead units on the front line. As Valtuda needs to be thinking about teching up their land forces and has done so up to Tech 2 land, starting to build up some T2 power. Just not seeing any Ilshivas come onto the field, and those would be very critical. Both of your opponents up to T2 land and producing it with great fervor. You have to not fall behind in that technological game. Do we have any factories upgrading just to somewhat of a support role to build T2 units? No, right now it's just that HQ. Or maybe there are a few upgrading, but it's hard to tell. Yeah, we have a couple over here on the western flank going T2 as of the moment. And a lot of units diverting to the south, but General Knowledge threatening the north. I think Valtuda just recognizing he can't really engage all of these rhinos. It's going to be a thorn in his side, but going to have to cede some ground over towards General Knowledge. Otherwise, it's just a losing battle. Here in the middle, another large attack. General Knowledge not really responding to it despite all of these units coming from the north, but Boy is going to show up. Unfortunately for Boy, he has hoplites getting mixed in with T1 battles, and those hoplites die quick when T1 units get into range. Does have a few rhinos showing up now. Valtuda really wants to take this position, not sure what the reasoning behind it is, but there is a strong focus on that out of the Red Seraphim player. And is going to start pushing in towards the main base of Boy, but Boy still has units being produced, and slowly but surely Valtuda is running out of units. He will definitely be able to get in and maybe even get some decent damage down. But at what cost, as a bunch of Corsairs show up and do a Shift G bombing run, killing off a huge swath of those units there. And Valtuda tunnel visioned on getting some amount of damage done. may just leave a bunch of reclaim for Boy to scoop up. As a large attack starts happening over here on the northern side, but now there are Ilshivas in the mix for Valtuda. Does he have enough to start pushing back General Knowledge, who's just trying desperately to push into the base? I don't think General Knowledge can quite take down all of these production facilities. And that is going to be a hard-fought fight here for Valtuda. Needs to make sure that this is dealt with, and dealt with soon. As T3 land is now on the way for Valtuda, wants to get out those Othams and maybe some sniper bots, trying to buy time, but does lose 3 possibly T2 production facilities, and that's really gonna hurt him in the long run, because that just means less Ilshivas, and all the meanwhile more Rhinos are gonna be built in the back line. T2 air being achieved by Boy means that all of these Corsairs sitting around are a very dangerous threat now onto that commander of Valtuda. There are a decent number of interceptors in the air for Valtuda to try and respond to that, though. Just gotta keep an eye on it. T3 land now on the way for General Knowledge. Is the same happening yet for Boy? No, Boy more than happy to stay on T2 for the moment. But overall economies, Valtuda is ahead of both General Knowledge and Boy combined, and should be in a decent position here to try and use his wallet to beat General Knowledge or Boy over the head with. Is getting out some T3 engineers, and is upgrading straight to T3 with these 4 factories adjacent to all of these mexes back here that are going T3 themselves. And Valtuda sitting on a decent economy. He's balancing it really well. You want to make sure you're doing something like this. Is gonna, of course, have to pause some of these T3 mechs upgrades when his coffers run out, but he has quite a while until that'll happen, and as long as you're reclaiming, you're good. And I think that was a Control K, just a straight up Control K out of General Knowledge. I don't see any tactical missile launchers or any form of air snipe, so that was just him giving up or disconnecting, as a T3 mech's gonna go down to these Corsairs. But what was that worth it? This T3, all of these Corsairs could have been used for a land defense, or even some kind of damage to the power grid. Killing off these T3 mexes, I'm not sure how worth it is. It does put Boy in a good spot economically compared to Valtuda, but Valtuda is going to be able to just reclaim this and get it thrown up again. The interceptors will eventually clean up the Corsairs. The Corsairs do manage to pick off at least 3 mexes, and a 4th might be possible, and it does seem like that might happen. Just needs a couple more Corsairs to get a pass off, but not gonna manage it critically, as a few units out from Boy push in and start dealing with all of this T1 land production. But Othams are starting to roll off the field. Heavy assistance on Otham production over here to the east for Valtuda, and all of these factories in the north starting to get their way up to that T3 point. But Valtuda losing those T3 mexes is going to hurt him in the short term. But maybe in the long term, with all of this reclaim here, can work out. Corsairs leave a nice juicy wreck for you to scoop up. It seems like Valtuda might just be a bit overwhelmed, not quite able to be everywhere. Boy, doing a very good job so far of making sure that his units are active and on the field doing something. Even things like this, just keeping an army right here, keeping it out on the field, not letting it sit in your base, is relatively useful, exerts some map control. Another thing to keep in mind whenever the games start getting drawn out like this and it turns into a bit more of a slugfest and slog, you have to remember to constantly be queuing up mexes. All of the map is yours if you are able to take it. Neither player doing a great job at re-expanding to these corners after they've been destroyed. Lots of hoplites over here starting to fire into these T1 units out from Valtuda. Valtuda desperately needs some higher tech onto the field, is starting to try and build things, but we have a tactical missile launcher launching an array of missiles, and some T3 and T2 mechs is going to go down. Boy just going for the economy. He wants to suffocate Valtuda. But Valtuda still in this, still ahead economically, is outpacing the economic damage being done by Boy. Boy is investing quite a bit. Corsairs aren't cheap. Tactical missile launchers and missiles are not cheap. A whole bunch of Corsairs coming out trying to get some more economic damage, I would assume. Going for that Tech 3 power generator that's only just now finished up. They're not going to manage to get it with this pass. Are there more Corsairs on the way? It does not seem so. As TMD starts to get thrown up. Oh, down to 1400 HP on that power generator. But not quite enough to bring it down. Boy playing a very good game of economic sabotage, but it just doesn't seem to matter as Valtuda just continues to grow his economy faster than it's being destroyed. I think the big thing that we can take away from this right now is just the sheer number of Othams now on the field. 20 Othams versus the entire land force having one T3 unit. One brick is on the field for Boy. These 20 Othams can be extremely successful if given the opportunity. More Corsairs going to come in. They may be able to pick off that T3 power generator, and they do get it. But is it even going to affect Valtuda? No. Even without that, it seems as though he is stable from a power standpoint, has a lot of power strewn across the map now. He's starting to have a bit of a struggle, but 49,000 in storage gives him a little bit of wiggle room to start pausing things and rebuild that T3 power generator. As down to the south over here, Otham start pushing out, make swift work of this army down here. And there's just really nothing that's going to be able to stand in the way of this army out from Valtuda. In the north, an ill-fated attack coming out from Boy towards Valtuda's forces. These Othams going to get a ton of value. Already seeing some of these Othams get close to one rank of veterancy with all of those weapons firing and picking off multiple units at a time. Valtuda going to be very happy with trades on both sides of the map. May even be able to get into some heavier reclaim. Speaking of reclaim, just in the main base alone, there's 40,000 mass for Valtuda to scoop up. Meanwhile, the other side of the map looking a lot less mass heavy. Would love to see Boy or Valtuda just get a few more factories online to spam out engineers for that oh-so-good reclaim patrol orders or even attack moves. We have a bit of an attack now brewing for Valtuda over here on the western side. And maybe see these Othams push in and get rid of this T2 production hub for Boy. And make Boy think twice about where he should be investing his mass, where he should be putting his units. Because right now he just doesn't have enough bricks on the field to answer these Othams. And this western side looking quite grim for the blue team. As Valtuda pushes in with blood in his eyes and a fire in his heart. That's a lot of thumbs, but the Othams are the real key to this. The thumbs are just there to save him some trouble in the form of just being a damage soak and a DPS boost. But the thumbs are the real things inflicting the damage here, and these factories gonna go down. And right now, Boy needs to come up with a solution, needs to come up with something to throw up here to protect this northern side, because it seems as though both sides of the map are just ready to capitulate. Boy still only sitting on 6 bricks, but he has a Monkey Lord in production, and that's going to be finishing up very quick. 266 mass a second allows you to build these Monkey Lords very swiftly, and that could be a game changer. We'll have to see where he allocates that monkey's time, as a decent number of bricks and a T2 force up here trying to fight off these Othams. There are more Othams, but the bricks have that range advantage and the HP advantage. And that does seem to clean up the attack on this side for Boy. Gonna have some security over there, but on this western side, more and more units just constantly pouring in for Valtuda. Seems as though he's going for the jugular. He wants to try and take out some of this backline economy, or better yet, try and get into these core mexes over here, take down those T3 mexes, get his own economic damage done. But with all the Corsairs on the field starting to help clean this up, does decide to go for this area to the west. Is going to focus down some of these power generators, and that's going to be a huge problem for Boy, as he's now going into a massive power stall. Needs to start pausing some of his production. The Monkey Lord is done, and it's heading up to the north to deal with this army, but this army has inflicted some critical damage already. That power stall going to affect Boy for the next few minutes at least, as T3 power going to be queued up in mass. And Boy struggling to deal with this massive attack. I was talking about Valtuda really using his wallet to bludgeon Boy, and it seems like that's exactly what's happening here. Boy down to 150 mass a second now with this power stall, and Valtuda sitting comfortably close to 400 mass a second. The key thing, though, is this Monkey Lord is on the field. It's going to start racking up and getting close towards that first rank of veterancy, and it really is almost unopposed. There's a few Othams in the area, but they will not last long versus that microwave laser sported by the Monkey Lord. That's gonna be a brutal display on the front lines here for Boy. Another Monkey Lord about to finish up. He's decided to prioritize this over the power generators. But once this is done, Boy gonna focus on the power generators. Has at least paused or canceled production on enough facilities to buy some time. And with the Monkey Lord done, power generation is now the key priority for Boy. And with 2 Monkey Lords on the field, you have to ask Valtuda, what's your response? Othams are not a great response to Monkey Lords. Even this large group here, it'll kill the Monkey Lord, but it will struggle, especially with the overwhelming air-to-ground fire support sported by Boy. All of these Corsairs in the air to try and help clean up any wayward attacks from Valtuda. And a chicken now starting for Valtuda. As we settle in and have a bit of a lull in the action. Monkey Lord pushing forward, gonna try and focus down some of these units, and critically the Othams aren't moving. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Othams going down without ever firing. That's a brutal situation for Valtuda. That's gonna be a very painful loss, as this Monkey Lord might be able to get in now. It doesn't quite have enough opposing it to really stop it, but it is getting a lot of Othams now starting to push into its position. A lot of T2 units and now Corsair showing up to try and support the Monkey Lord, down to 15,000 HP. And it's just going to be able to walk in here and deal tons of damage to the backline of Valtuda. It's kind of a disaster there. And on the other side, Valtuda can't rest, because he also has to deal with a Monkey Lord and a lot more scary assisting force of bricks from Boy. And Boy, despite being massively behind economically for quite a while now, looks like he may have found the key. One chicken has finished up. It has to decide which flank to defend. I think you most likely want to send it up to the north, but leaving it idle is the worst option here. You've got to deal with one pincer and then the other. That's how you deal with a pincer attack like this. If you're being attacked on multiple fronts, you have to focus on them one at a time. Otherwise, you will fall apart, as the chicken is going to go try and chase down this Monkey Lord, but the Monkey Lord is moving in towards this T3 production. Valtuta really doesn't want to lose that, as the Monkey Lord on the other side pushing forward. And another chicken on the way. It's going up quick. He might be able to get this second chicken done if he can defend it for a while, using the commander aggressively. The Monkey Lord in the north going down to the chicken, and Valtuta trying everything to just hold the line. I think he believes if he holds the line, he can win this game, and I'd be inclined to agree with him, because he's able to throw together these chickens so quickly. And with two chickens on the field, he just needs to keep producing them. Needs to get these engineers out of harm's way first, though. Another shield being thrown up, but Valtuta might be power stalling. No, it was just that shield going down. And with this Monkey Lord pushing in, it could have focused the calm of Valtuta, but doesn't decide to. And the chicken gonna start running away as the second one finishes up. All-out war declared by Boy, but Boy has lost the two heavy hitters of his force. He's lost those two Monkey Lords, and it's just so thin on the ground there. There's just nothing here anymore. He is continuing to produce his own Monkey Lords. But will it be enough? The brick production also in full swing now. Valtuta has a lot of economy, but needs to find a way to spend it. He's wasting mass right now. Needs T3 engineers more than anything on the field right now. And we reach another little lull here. We'll go ahead and speed the game up just a little bit, as these players try and find their footing to swing again. Throwing haymakers back and forth, and here's an interesting one. Teleporter on the way for Valtuta. Could he be going for maybe a teleporter splash gun upgrade and try and get the commander? Could be risky. The Monkey Lords are being built right next to Boy's comm. Timing could be dangerous for Valtuta if he goes for that, and it is really an all-in play. The two chickens now pushing out, one dangerously low on HP. Valtuta needs to make sure they are not standing too close to each other, because that first one's gonna go down momentarily once the fighting truly kicks off. And that Ion Storm is a blessing and a curse. And right now looking a lot closer to the curse side of angles, as the chickens are right on top of each other. They're starting to fire into the forces here. The Monkey Lord shows up. That first chicken goes down. The Ion Storm gonna deal a lot of damage to that chicken. That was its ally. Both go down. And the Monkey Lord gonna walk away pretty well, not unscathed, but pretty happy, sitting on 4,000 HP. Can control K that and reclaim it quite easily. And with a bunch of bricks sneaking in up here to the north, means that this production line is gonna be taken out rather abruptly. And now Valtuta struggling heavily with just the omnipresence of Boy seemingly attacking on all fronts at all times. And Valtuta's base has been heavily diminished, especially with regards to land production. Another chicken on the way. Had teleporter paused for a bit, but now focusing it. Might be a good call to just focus on teleporter and splash. If you don't think you can recover and deal with the standing army, you need to go for those desperation plays. And it seems as though Veltuda is struggling heavily with where to go with this game. Doesn't know if they want to finish a chicken, build PD, or get teleporter online. Luckily for Veltuda, these point defense will be able to fire. I thought for a second that this was built on a hill and would really screw over. Some of the ones in the back will have a lot of problems, but at least these first few won't. As another Monkey Lord pushing in towards the base. And teleporter continuing to be built. Veltuda most likely power stalling. 114,000 power he can blow through at any given time. Can keep pausing it if needed. And teleporter gonna finish up relatively quickly. I'm assuming splash is coming up soon. But a Monkey Lord could throw a wrench into the plans. I don't think Boy knows where that commander is. He does indeed see it. Surprised to not just see that Monkey Lord pushing forward towards the commander. And Veltuda finishes up teleporter and splash is on the way soon. These point defense buying ever so important time for Veltuda. Splash now on the way as ASF being used as a scouting force. This Monkey Lord can decide the game. If the Monkey Lord stays put, the game is almost assuredly in the hands of Boy. Splash is finished up. Veltuda goes into the water and starts channeling teleport. The Monkey Lord getting closer to the commander, but no, it's gonna walk away. Does Boy notice the teleport command just yet? Oh, the teleport was canceled. But the monkey gonna continue to push out of the base. Veltuda will see that momentarily and will be a-okay to teleport again. And Boy building shields, but shields won't help. He's gonna be inside your shields momentarily, and oh my god, it's gonna come down to this. And I think through on the skin of his teeth, Veltuda has chosen and snatched away victory from the jaws of defeat, and Boy will go down after clawing himself into a winning position this game. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support. Remember to like and subscribe and comment if you got this far into the game. You know you liked the video. And subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton. You wouldn't believe how many people will give a channel with an extra 1,000 subs a chance instead of not giving that same channel a chance when that number is lower. People look at the numbers. And of course, thank you to the Patreons and channel members who support me. It helps out a ton. If you want to help me in that way, I welcome it and appreciate it. But no obligations. All the content will always be free. You all are beautiful. And this is Willow, signing off.
Sick of being the monster out of my head.